People have always understood that flight was possible from observing birds, but it took thousands of years to actually achieve, and there were many hurdles along the way. Flying is defined as controlled movement through the air and includes sustained, controlled, and powered flight. But the real question is how? How do airplanes fly? To have a better understanding on this, we must first learn the four forces acting on an airplane during its flight. We have the lift, weight, thrust, and drag. Now let's define each one of them. Lift is the force that acts at a right angle to the direction of motion through the air. It is created by differences in air pressure. Weight, on the other hand, is the force of gravity. It acts in a downward direction toward the center of the earth. Thrust is the force that propels a flying machine in the direction of motion. It is the engine's responsibility to produce thrust. Lastly, we have the drag. Drag is the force that acts opposite to the direction of motion. It is caused by friction and differences in air pressure. Now, the real reason why an airplane flies is because of its wing. Its shape, to be exact. Okay, so the wings are the key to making something fly. But how do they work? Most airplane wings have a curved upper surface and a flatter lower surface, making a cross-sectional shape called an airfoil. According to a principle of aerodynamics called Bernoulli's law, fast-moving air is at lower pressure than slow-moving air. So the pressure above the wing is lower than the pressure below, and this creates the lift that powers the plane upward. As a plane flies forward, the curved upper part of the wing lowers the air pressure directly above it, so it moves upward. Of course, you will ask, why does this happen? As air flows over the curved upper surface, its natural inclination is to move in a straight line, but the curve of the wing pulls it around and back down. For this reason, the air is effectively stretched out into a bigger volume, the same number of air molecules forced to occupy more space, and this is what lowers its pressure. For exactly the opposite reason, the pressure of the air under the wing increases. The advancing wing squashes the air molecules in front of it into a smaller space. The difference in air pressure between the upper and lower surfaces causes a big difference in airspeed, not the other way around as in the traditional theory of a wing. According to Isaac Newton's third law of motion, if air gives an upward force to a plane, the plane must give an equal and opposite downward force to the air. So a plane also generates lift by using its wings to push air downward behind it. That happens because the wings aren't perfectly horizontal, but tilted back very slightly so they hit the air at an angle of attack. The angled wings push down both the accelerated airflow and the slower moving airflow, and this produces lift. Since the curved top of the airfoil deflects more air than the straighter bottom, it produces significantly more lift. On the other hand, as the air molecules crashes along the surface of the wing, this also creates resistance, which slows down the airplane. In order to overcome this, we need something that will push the airplane forward. That's why we need to utilize engines. Generally, we must take note that the four forces are not equal, because in order to make an airplane fly, it must have an adequate amount of thrust produced by the engines and lift generated by the wings. When the airplane is traveling at a constant velocity, that's when only the four forces are equal.